walking the desert of Duat.
So what else? What else do we see in this land of the dead?
Well, you see the ruins of a civilization. You occasionally see other immense creatures. Some of them are sphinx-like, like the first one that you saw. Others are more humanoid. As you continue on, it stops being so sparse. It almost looks like a bustling metropolis city with the amount of shades that are around. None of them really pay you any mind. Occasionally, swaths of them are obliterated by incoming fiends or just other shades that maybe have been here a little too long. The sand has changed from your typical gold yellow sand to the black and red you would expect in Duat. You are pretty certain you are truly in what most people would consider Duat, no longer the fringes.
Oh, okay.
No direction but forward. If we like to trust that good old snake fellow back there.
I don't know how trustworthy Amut is.
Right.
He only seeks to devour and destroy everything.
You got anything else to trust right now? You got a GPS in your head? You remember the streets? Because if not, we're wandering.
How one-to-one is this place to Irem?
This isn't one-to-one at all.
Okay, so it's not.
Occasionally you get something from Irem that you recognize, but then you get something from a civilization you've never even heard of. Some civilization you might even think is Babylon, for all you know.
Well, there's a few things here and there I recognize. Most things I do not. It is not Irem. I believe we are in Duat proper. So, I suppose any direction is as good as any other.
Right?
Yeah.
Might I recommend one that does not put us on direct intercept paths with those creatures that are running around stomping out the ghosts?
That's probably a good idea. So, what's like in the distance? Are there like larger temple-looking things, places that look important?
Oh yes, there are many very large temples. And the best way to describe them is they almost look like mountains in the distance. They are in the far distance, though. Roll me intelligence plus occult, and if you have Iremic religion,
Gars.
then you'll go ahead and get your specialty there.
In the gold plus one. Plus Juan. Juan, success.
As you look at him, you recognize 42 of them.
How many are there?
Hundreds.
Hundreds, okay. Right. I know some of those, the more popular mainstream ones. I don't know most of them. Some long, forgotten judges or gods or whatnot, I'm sure.
You guys continue forward. What feels like days turns into weeks, turns into months. At least that's how your perception of time sees it.
Are we getting tired or hungry?
No. You eventually come to a large gate. The gate is nondescript sandstone. It doesn't have a door. Nothing seems to be guarding it. It is the first thing that is not a ruined building.
Is this like a gate in a wall, or is this just a freestanding gate?
It is a freestanding gate. As stated, there's no door. There's nothing around it, which very clearly makes it unusual. Now, everybody here can read Emmerich, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Comes with being a cult member, I believe.
All right. There is one word, and that is the word crap. I lost where it is. Hold on.
It says crap.
No, it does not. It does not say crap. As funny as that would be, it says
We found the restroom.
it says ab, ab.
Does this mean anything to us?
Heart.
I would like to go through some of my notebooks and see what I have.
All right, go ahead and give me your. I still required it as a roll. So give me intelligence plus occult. Aramaic religion would count here.
Great.
I mean, Edmond sees a big gate. He's just gonna walk around it. There's nothing stopping me.
So, 2 successes. You have some vague notes, specifically from the mummy that had brought you into the fold, so to speak. The mummy remembers echoes of their passions being tried here. Places where the heart experienced an overflow of emotion. The trick here is not to drown in the song of your own heart, but to still embrace these moments. Edmond, you're still just walking forward?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go around the gate.
Is anybody else following, or did you two stop?
I want stopped.
Yeah.
Edmond vanishes once he takes a step past where the thickness of the gate, or the thickness of the door is. It's probably about 3 feet. Once he steps past that, Edmond just vanishes. We'll go back to Edmond in a moment.
Well, I was going to say it was. This is something of an emotional journey. It's different for all involved. Could be a fond memory. Could be something that you would have best forgotten. The point is that it's when there was a great unease or great upheaval emotionally. Whatever is behind that, beyond that wall, beyond those stones, don't succumb to it. Don't believe that it's where you belong as much as it tempts you. But by no means ignore it.
So it's an emotional journey. It's not real, but based on reality. That sounds
It's
interesting.
drawn from your own experience. It might not be, the memories might not be accurate, but it's certainly how you remember them.
Oh, well, that's going to be interesting with my timeline. It's got a lot to choose from.
A deep well, indeed.
Okay, well, no way but forward. And what's going to start walking through.
About
Deep breath.
and about where Edmond disappeared. As you get to that spot, obviously going through the actual gate here, Duat disappears, and then I'm assuming Seth follows there shortly after.
The only way out is through.
All right. So, Edmond, I need you to make me a pilot check at a -3. No willpower can be spent because you don't have any.
I mean, I can try to argue for willpower of, impatience to not listen to whatever Seth had to say, but I don't need willpower. I'm just that good. I have a specialty, so it's only at a -1 anyways. It's an area of expertise. And it's an asset skill, so it's 9 again?
Yes.
Yes. Two successes. It does little to... Your control of the plane maintains. However, it does nothing to abate the two flaming engines at your left and right, and the fact that you are going to crash. As you kind of look over the field, you notice if you continue on your current trajectory, you will land smack in the middle of no man's land. Between Allied and German forces.
Well, Edmond takes a moment to, blink here, and it's just, yeah, okay, this is happening again, isn't it?
It very much
And,
is.
I mean, it's going to be a very simple action. We're going to jerk the controls trying to get back towards Allied land, and, face going into the arm, he's covering his eyes again. Just kind of going to brace.
As the plane crash lands, I'm going to need Edmond to take a few points of aggravated damage here. We're going to say 3. As the fighter jet crashes into the ground. Thankfully, as Edmond raises his head this time, vision is there.
The damn desert certainly got the pain right. Oh, Edmond is just going on instincts and training here, and well, he's gonna check if the gas mask is still intact in the wreckage. If not, then, well, we're using a rag, but we're gonna try to book it across the mud and hope no German happens to be looking this way with an MG.
Not only did the desert, quote unquote, get the pain right, you do notice your leg is still quite bum. And your arm, the pain in your arm right now is so intense you're not entirely sure if it's going to be able to be used. But at least this time it protected your eyes. The gas mask, unfortunately, is not in perfect condition. The face shield, the glass essentially, is cracked. You can't be 100% sure if it's all the way through or not. It may not be.
Even if it was working, it's not gonna mean a damn thing if I'm out here for too long. Well, I'm not just a soldier this time. And it's, well, I hope my lighter's intact.
It very much is.
Then I will be activating Drive On to ignore my leg and book it across no man's land before I get shot.
Go ahead and give me your roll.
Not online again.
A puff of smoke, and you begin to book it. All right. I want to have some fun here. So I am going to make a roll, and you're going to make me an opposed dexterity athletics roll.
Oh, very good. Luckily, because the tilt's ignored, it's not actually, like, impossible to succeed here, probably.
Or 2 successes. You hear something in the air and you instinctively move out of the way as a grenade lands right where you were and it detonates. You had dove far enough that you're not going to take any damage from it. However, it is going to cause you to have to get back up off the ground to continue forward.
Edmond is gonna draw that sidearm that he's been very awkwardly carrying that the hunter guy gave him a while ago. Or, not yet, because there are no actual guns in the Pentagon armor. So no, because if that's a grenade that went off, there's got to be someone here then. Because we're in the middle of a field, right? You know, who threw that?
Yeah. You do see a few German soldiers attempting to make their way across. One of them does immediately get picked off. But they seem to be heading in the same direction as you.
Glad the French have good eyes tonight. Oh, jeez. Right? Well, obviously they've spotted me. They chucked a nade at me.
Yeah. However, their attention is obviously split. They're still trying to move forward, but they're trying to pick somebody off as well.
Yeah. Yeah, don't want to get caught you don't want to get caught in a friendly fire accident. So Edmond's just gonna find a nice little crater to hide in temporarily. Because, well, I don't want to get shot because they think I'm a German. And I don't want the Germans to shoot me as I'm trying to run with them, so... we're hiding like a coward.
There are a couple of different craters that you can at least push your body into the dirt to get out of eyesight at least. Eventually, you end up hearing chain fire from a machine gun in the not too far distance. You don't know if it's incoming or outgoing, though.
Keeping my head down until it ends. It's a simple survival tactic.
Awat. You stand in a temple. This is shortly after the rite of return. Your granddaughter stands before you. Ceremonial garb and everything. How does she look to you now?
Well, she's got darker skin than most in the area. Black hair in tight braids. Right now, she would probably have ritual painting, like red in symbols, Iremic, and she's got like a gold jewelry piercings pretty much all over the place. That's pretty much all I can think of at the moment.
She speaks to you, 100% in Emmerich. Are you sure you want to do this? It's gonna be painful.
So, Awat takes a moment to look around where he is.
You remember it. It's a temple. One of the temples in Iram. With the fluentness of her Iremic, you can feel the desert winds behind you. You are home, so to speak. However, there's a certain lack of a tightness in your chest right now.
So, Awat will he'll look down at his chest. Is he bare chested, or does he have like a?
He's bare-chested.
Okay.
A little bit, I wouldn't say younger, but
It would be the same age.
yeah. However, you are able to assume you're just a bit younger, as there is no scar across your chest.
Okay. So he'll look up at his granddaughter. He'll say, "For you, I would endure all of the pain of the world to help you in your journey. Twice, even."
She kind of sighs as she moves about the temple. You hear small phrases underneath her breath. They sound like prayers or incantations, maybe. Her hand lingers for a second as she picks up a very wicked-looking ritual knife. She kind of turns to look at you. This is the last time you're gonna ever be able to back out.
What would I back out to? There's nothing else for me. We only have each other.
She kind of moves over and begins to flip through the book that she stole. You know, I don't even know if this will necessarily work, right? Like, I stole this from the priests after they initiated the rite on myself. It's only... You'd be the first. She kind of stumbles over her words as she, her concentration breaks as she, continues to read.
I may be the first, but I have absolute faith in your abilities. You are a prodigy among the masses. You were chosen for a reason. And I would see you all the way to the end.
Hard to take solace in that when so many bodies line the streets, right? So many errors, as they called them. I mean, even the captain of the guard, Amanakti, was one of the ones thrown onto the pyre, so to speak.
Well, as with all great things, some sacrifices need be made for the greater good of the people. And I believe that those sacrifices are worth it in the end.
Lay upon the altar table thing over there, and she kind of makes a gesture over to a flat stone surface.
So Awat will kind of hop up awkwardly because he's old. Just kind of hobble up there. There we go. Needle lays down. Ooh. Cold.
She takes a deep breath as she kind of makes her way over. You can see the breath catch in her throat as she raises the ritual knife high into the air and then drives it into your chest. You're gonna take aggravated damage here.
That's fair.
And it's gonna be a total of 3, not for the stab, but after she stabs you, her dragging the knife down and opening your chest. And we're gonna go over to Seth. Seth, as you step through the gate, what do you see?
Oh.
This is what happens when you show up late and I need information.
How far back does he want to go?
Whatever would be the most impactful memory.
What's your strongest memory?
Oh, I'm gonna. So it's probably way back, still a student, in and going into archaeological and art history. Probably Mel Graham, the one that got away, and died in the final year of the college course, and yeah, that sort of that brief thing her and Seth had years ago.
So, you're sitting in your old professor's classroom. Class has just ended, it seems. As you kind of look about, and you see her there. It is one of those things where I think you get to relive that one fantasy I think most people have always had. If I could go back in time with the same memories that I have now, would I do anything differently? Basically, Seth has all the memories. He remembers walking into the gate, and now he knows he's here.
It's it's knowing that you could, in theory, give it all up for.
She begins to collect her books, placing them into her backpack, essentially, and, slowly begins to make her way out of the room. Kind of at the back of the group, so to speak.
I will, with all the finesse and grace of a art history student, sort of fumbling, dropping books as I go, attempt to sort of catch up with her. And it's sorry to sort of jump in. I was wondering, well, if you had any sort of plans.
She kind of chuckles a little bit. Gonna have to be a little bit more specific than that. I mean, we all have plans. Are you talking about future plans?
I don't mean like. I mean, obviously, yes. But I was wondering if you sort of the next few days or now.
Now she kind of looks at her watch. I mean, I have a couple of hours free before my next class.
I was wondering if there's a place around the corner that they do coffee. You probably know it. I mean, you've been here as long as I have.
She gives a sly smile. I could go for some coffee, yeah.
And sort of mentally considering it. Indulge it, but swim in it, but don't drown.
She kind of...
Yeah, I'll...
Go ahead.
Begin to make... So, obviously, if she's coming along, then we'll head that way.
As you make your way through the campus, is it the same campus that you currently teach at? Well,
no, it's just one of those sort of second tier, not quite Oxford, Cambridge standard British universities.
She kind of nods. So, Seth, right?
Yes.
So, what about... Not to echo your question, but what are your plans? And I do mean in the more grand scope of things. She kind of chuckles.
Well, to be honest, ever since I was about 8, I pretty much wanted to be Indiana Jones. I mean, I don't think I'll find anything quite so monumental as the Ark of the Covenant, but, go out, see the world, explore it, maybe.
Well, I mean...
Yours?
I haven't fully decided on that yet. I'm still in the phase of take a course here, take a course there, trying to figure it out. She kind of nods.
We're all improvising. I read the other day. It's we're all improvising. It's just the most successful people convince you that they're not.
I can see that. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I just haven't found that one thing I'm passionate about. I would say you're kind of lucky knowing something that you're passionate about.
Thanks. Yes, who knows where it will lead me.
At this point, just because that statement is actually severely loaded, let's go ahead and make a wits empathy check there for her. One success. And you kind of say that as she looks at you, you see that little hint in her eye. You very much feel like you've become a book all of a sudden. That one statement, maybe she was able to read it far more than you maybe would have expected her to. However, she doesn't really say anything. She just kind of nods and turns back, facing, watching where she's walking, essentially. So, Indiana Jones, she makes a chuckle. What made you ask me to go get coffee?
What do you think? You've always been the other side of the room. You never know what's going to happen, so I thought, take the plunge. At least ask.
She kind of nods her head. As you guys arrive at this coffee shop, she's somewhat ahead of you. She stands at the door and then kind of just moves over to the side and raises an eyebrow expectantly at you.
I'll open the door.
And I feel like with that, Edmond, the machine gun fire has died down. Do you dare poke your head out of your little hole?
Edmond is going to take a brief moment to reflect upon these developments of, I very nearly could have died to that grenade. And there's just that small thought in the back of his head of, maybe the only reason I am alive was because I didn't get here as quick as I did this time. But he's not going to dwell on that for too long because he's still under machine gun possible fire and would like to not be in a crater in the middle of Verdun. So yes, he is going to poke his head up and
It
just
is
assess the situation.
outside of sounds of gunfire, sounds of explosions in the distance. Your immediate vicinity is calm.
How far away, roughly, am I from friendly lines?
You've still got a good run.
Considering they were shooting at the people near me. Well, better get running.
As you do make it without any friendly fire situations. However, as you kind of slide into the trench, so to speak, it is quiet. Too quiet.
Is the trench empty?
In the immediate vicinity, yes.
Edmond's gonna pause for a moment. There's no reason they would have retreated.
As you go ahead and give me a perception check, actually. As you kind of begin to look around, trying to assess the situation, you do notice something. Very near where one of these trenches goes in and, leads into kind of like that small base type room. You do notice at the very entrance a large amount of shattered glass. If you poke your head, I'm assuming you poke your head inside.
Yeah, I'm obviously going to see what's going on.
You see Allied soldiers inside this little bunker base. Blisters all over their skin. The glass makes sense.
I guess Trans was remanded back in the normal timeline. Moving quickly has its disadvantages at times. Well, there's no point in sitting here. And Edmond's gonna keep pushing on through the trench network until he finds friendly command.
Alright.
Because the Pyros is gonna wear off eventually. And he'd like to be in a medical tent.
And
if possible.
as you turn a corner, I'm gonna give you defense in this situation, even though technically this would be a surprise attack, but I'm gonna give you defense here. What's your defense?
Do I still have the distillation running?
Yes.
Is this the same scene? So 5.
Okay. Willpower. as this guy in German uniform just hauls off and decks you as you come around a corner. 2 points of bashing damage. You see him as he kind of punches you. He starts, his other hand's fumbling. It looks like he's trying to reach for a trench knife.
He brought a knife to a gunfight, eh?
A lightning fight.
I don't have time to. Now's not the time, alright?
You can't smoke in this guy's face.
You know, I'm gonna try to fire center mass as I am hitting the floor, essentially, in futile attempts to maybe put him on the floor as well.
Alright. He doesn't get his defense. Oh, wait. This would be close combat.
But it's what, a light pistol probably?
Yes.
So it's size 1, so you can fire it in melee?
Okay.
What is this stats for? Is it a 1 lethal?
A light pistol, I believe, is 1 lethal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 lethal.
Sounds right.
Okay. Anyways, did I take... No, didn't take area of expertise on this, so... I don't actually have it on my sheet, so I'm just going to roll with normal dex firearms.
Of course.
With specialty in pistols. So that's 4 lethal.
Your shot finds its mark. However, he also finds his knife and dives at you. This one's gonna hurt.
Yeah, well, now because I'm on the ground, so I think he gets a +2 for hitting me.
However, you still have 5 defense. So, it's still a -3. You're able to somewhat move, but the knife still, finds a little bit of purchase as he kind of slashes into your chest. Rather than it being a actual stab wound, it's going to be 2 points of lethal. However, that chest wound of his is bleeding quite profusely.
Yeah, they're muttering something, something bloody crowd fire. Because, well, we're running out of options. As if we had them to begin with.
3, that's 7 lethal. Yeah, this guy drops.
Edmond is going to get off of the dirt because mud in open wounds is usually a bad thing. Does this guy seem like was he alone? Is there anyone running? Do I hear any reactions to 2 gunshots that just went off?
Perception. That's what the skill's there for.
Well, I don't just roll dice without you telling me to do it.
I know. 2. You hear German in the distance, and not too far distance, probably somewhere further up the network. However, that's also when you hear your ears begin to ring as a massive explosion goes. Not a massive explosion, but an explosion goes off within the network. And with that perception check, I will say, you hear an explosion. You also hear what sounds like glass shattering. Which is your cue, so to speak.
Well, I'm gonna go right back to that shit. You know, what do you do in this situation? Well, Edmond's not going to stay right on top of the body here because, well, they're going to come looking for their friend, and I don't want to be here when they find him. But gonna find some little cranny to duck into.
Around this time, as you're somewhat considering what to do, that's when you start to see the fog roll in. It'll reach you, and you know what it is. It's usually always delivered by artillery fire.
Can I tell what direction the artillery came from?
It came from further up in the network.
So this is friendly shelling themselves, shelling their own trench.
This is Germans shelling a trench that they're not entirely sure is wiped out.
Okay, so they're shelling their own troops. Great. I love the Germans. This is why they lost.
However...
Okay. Dignity doesn't exist when you're facing mustard gas or chlorine or whichever particular brand they're using today. We're hitting the deck face down in the mud.
As you do hit the deck, you do see a gas mask on this guy that seems relatively undamaged, if that's something you want to grab.
We're taking that. The German supply lines, I can't guarantee they even had him there.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Mummy the Curse 2nd Edition Final Hours, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion Anthology. Written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener. And if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, in the fading memories of this dying world, can we discover a way to survive?